Hello guys, Elena here, and today I'm going to talk to you about my experience going to therapy. And I'm not going to generalize people's experiences with therapy. The problem with therapy, there wasn't a problem with my therapy, it was a problem with my therapist. Kind of like a doctor, right? So going to the doctor is a good thing, and you should go to the doctor. But if you have a bad doctor, they can't heal you. So that was kind of like how my therapist was for me. So I'm not advocating for you not go to therapy. I am a big advocate for therapy and getting mental health because that shit works. But it really, even most therapists will tell you this, the success with your mental health recovery, it is heavily correlated with your connection with your therapist. So if your therapist isn't working out for you, I highly suggest you just switch. Even if you're scared about switching, it's gonna be the best move for you. So just consider that and keep that in mind. But today I'm gonna tell you about my therapist and how much I fucking hated her. About over a year ago now, I had a breakdown and my dad was like, hey Elena, let's go to therapy. And I was like, you know what, Johnny, let's fucking do it. And so his boyfriend is a therapist in the town away from ours, so he kind of had some connection, so he recommended Becky, because Becky was a lesbian and specialized in LGBT people. But for being real with you here, she didn't act like it. But anyways, first day of therapy, I think it's the shit. I get to talk about myself all day, right? I'm like, this is it. My narcissistic tendencies are really at their peak. I love talking about myself. And honestly, I really just try to get everything off my chest in that first session, because I know that right now I have the confidence to do that, so it's in my best interest to just tell her everything I know, right? And the whole time that I'm talking, right, she has this notebook and she's writing down, she's like as if she's taking notes, right? I tell her some deep shit, all of my traumas. But, right, I keep going to her for a couple months after that, right? And she never fucking addresses the big things in my life. And there were I'd said shit to her that obviously would affect my mental health, right? And she never touched back on that. And I don't even fucking forget it, because you have your notes right there. She remembered the stupid shit I would tell her, oh yeah, my favorite color is teal, or shit like that doesn't matter. And that's the kind of stuff that we would talk about while I was at therapy. And I'm just kind of and then sometimes while we were in the middle of talking about nonsense, I would try to get her back on topic, and I'd be like, oh, so I really have trouble talking to people and making new connections. And she was like, well, why don't you go to the dog park and go talk to people there? They're low risk. I'm like, are they really though? I mean, she said that them denying me wouldn't matter to me, but I think if they denied me at the fucking dog park, I would be pretty fucking upset. My ego would go all the way down. But she would say shit like that to me, shit that wouldn't help anyone. I feel like I can't think of one piece of advice that she gave me that has helped me. And I tell my dad this stuff, right? And he'd be like, well, she helped you make a friend. But that's the funnier part. So a lot of the reason I went to therapy is because I was never officially diagnosed with it. But I was officially diagnosed with anxiety, but I was never officially diagnosed with social anxiety. But I thoroughly believe that I have it, but I won't officially say that because no doctor has yet to tell me that. But so I would have trouble making friends. I literally had no friends at school, and the friends I did have were just because I have obligation. But Becky decides to introduce me to some of her clients who are willing to be friends with me. And my dad was like, well, she helped you make friends. And I'm like, okay, so she gave me the fucking fish. Okay, so yeah, they say teach the person how to fish and they can feed themselves. Well, this bitch just gave me fish. She didn't teach me how to fish. So I couldn't make any friends with myself. Right, I had these friends who were equally as fucked up as I am, right? But I didn't make them. They were just given to me. So she didn't teach me how to make friends at all. And this isn't even the worst part. This is Becky. I'm not sure if I said her name yet, but Becky, that just adds to the effect of me hating her, ooh, fuck Becky, right? She was so against modern medicine and science, and she was that bitch. She had essential oils all over her. She was fucking witch doctor. I don't know, but I feel like that'd be a more accurate title for her than a therapist. Anyways, like whenever we would have troubles, like, cause like I had friends that went to therapist too, right? And she would like try to use her spiritual fucking healing ways on us. But like, you know, my ass just wanted Prozac, but she wanted me to fucking cleanse my chakras. Like, I'm not even lying when she said that. Like, she has said shit like that to us before. She also told like one of my friends that their cells were traumatized. Like, what the fuck does that mean, Becky? Like, honestly, a lot of times she tried to get me to go to yoga. Like, okay, maybe yoga would be good for me, but she wanted me to go to like Kundalini yoga, which is literally for cleansing your chakras. I'm 90% sure. And I don't know, like, I just don't feel like yoga is for me. I really feel like Prozac is the answer at this point. Like, you know, I'll take a little Prozac on the side. We'll have a little chat here and there, Becky. Like, sounds like a good ass way to live. But she never, I'm not gonna say never, she rarely gave her patients medicine because she didn't believe in it. I also like tried to be like, hey Becky, I really think I have ADHD, which I later did get a diagnosis from a doctor that I have ADHD, and she'd be like, you know what, I think it's a blessing for you, Elena. I'm like, it can be the biggest fucking blessing in the world. I want some fucking Adderall, Becky. Oh, she was so infuriating to me. And this isn't the worst part. So, you know, for a couple times we just sat and we chatted, right, about fucking traffic or how to drive in my city. But then we started coloring. Like, every day, like, not every day, every session. So I went to her, I started off by going to her once a week. So like every Friday I'd go to her, and every time we would fucking color. And I hated coloring because it was so hard for me to start up conversations with her while I was coloring. And like, she had the worst coloring books. Like, I was literally coloring Paw Patrol, it'd be like Paw Patrol colors, and like, we wouldn't talk the entire time, and it was just like this awkward dead silence, and I'd just be like, I hope this fucking 45 minutes ends so soon. And then it would end, none of my problems would be solved. I'd walk out and be like, hey, at least I'm out of there. Honestly, it came to a point where like, I probably recovered a little bit mentally just because of other things that were going on in my life, and I just like dread going to her. I was like, maybe you're like becoming the center of my problems. But she just wasn't a good person to talk to personally. Like, I really think I'd probably stay with her because she was like the only like LGBT friendly person I know in like my city who is a therapist, because I live in a really like conservative place, and I didn't really feel comfortable talking about my LGBT problems with anyone else, even though a lot of my problems weren't centered around my gayness. Like, it was other shit. Like, I didn't really need any gay person to be my therapist. I could go to anyone because my problems weren't about being gay. Like, they were just like problems that weren't oriented around my orientation. That was a good fucking sentence right there. But yeah, it was just not good for me or her. And so eventually, like, I started seeing her every 2 weeks because she even brought it up. She was like, yeah, I just don't think you need it that much anymore. Like, I think we could be good with 2 weeks. Because she knew how fucking awkward it was for me just sitting there. And when she wouldn't talk to me about anything meaningful. And then, this is how I stopped going to her. One day, she was like, see you at 4, because that's when I was supposed to go there and have to drive out to the middle of fucking nowhere to go to her office. And honestly, I had so much anxiety driving to her office that, like, that was the scariest part of the week at that point. That adds to it. Fuck Becky. And we're at her office location. But anyways, I was just like, I didn't realize I was supposed to go that day, and I don't think I was, because she told me I was going every 2 weeks, and I had gone the last week, and then she was like, I see you at 4, and I was like, actually you said every 2 weeks, and then she like was like, okay, but she put a period mark behind it, like it was passive aggressive. And honestly, that's the last time I talked to her. She never like rescheduled or anything. So I think that was good for both of us. It was kind of like a healthy breakup. But yeah, my takeaways from that, and what you should take away from my story, is make sure your therapist works for you. Like, don't feel compelled to stay with your therapist because you feel like you're gonna hurt your feelings if you leave them. Like, I know I should have fucking left, but I didn't. Like, I watched this video as like 5 signs your therapist isn't helping you, and she like checked everything off on the list, and I was like, I'm just gonna ignore that. But anyways, I'm sure I probably missed a lot in this video, but That's pretty typical of me. So anyways, I hope y'all can take something away from this, or maybe even a laugh. And just, if you need therapy, get help. But make sure that your therapist is good and you're not wasting time or money. And anyways, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Love y'all. I'll check you out in the next video.